I want to know. Can we talk about your music?
Did you say can we or have we?
Can we?
Oh yeah, we can talk about it.
Okay. Do you have a set date? Have you played with that yet, or is just
Nah, there's no
it's not gonna be
date.
for
It's just
months? It's gonna be a while, right? Is
it's
it
gonna
just
be a little while because it's just a
yeah,
budget thing. You know what I'm
yeah?
saying?
I know.
I just wanna roll things out properly. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? But as far as like the creative fun part, like that stuff is done. The songs are done. Like it's great to and my process is weird. Maybe not weird, I should say, but the way that I work is that as you're creating, when you're in a creative groove,
hmm
you like something at the moment. That's why you're creating it. You're in that
yeah.
creative element at that moment.
That's where your
But you
mind
don't
is
know,
partly.
right? But you don't know how you're gonna feel about that creation with time. And
Yeah,
the
for
more that you
sure.
create, they're all your babies.
Always, yeah.
Um, but there
But
are
we
some that you
change.
favor.
The creations
Yeah.
change. So it's ever
How you view
moving. So
them.
no, it makes
So
sense. Do you have you been listening to it? Do you go back to it and like play with it?
yeah,
Have
all the
you
time.
got you? Have you gone back and edited, or it's like you
I
to you
do
it's like
edit, but they're minor edits.
yeah.
Like the main editing stuff has been already worked out.
Yeah.
Um, what I mainly do is I take a break from it and I slowly just go back and I'll be like, let me listen to my stuff again. Because I forget them. I forget the songs. I forget how I feel. Um, and just over time, over the years, really, I just been figuring out which ones stand the test of times and which one, regardless, I feel like they're timeless because I enjoy them.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, there's been a lot of songs where I've liked them for a long period of time, but I may just like them and be like, that might not fit the project, these are better. They're still my babies, as I said. I still might love that
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
me,
Yeah. Yeah.
but not for putting a whole budget behind it. So that's really just how my process works, is really just going back, listening, not listening
Yeah.
to it for maybe a month or 2 months, and then coming
I
back,
I
listening
think you're gonna see
again.
a lot of benefits because of that. Because of this
Yeah,
like
I think so
this
too.
liminal space where he's like, hey, I can't finish it until this happens. That gives you the extra time to do those little tweaks, and that's gonna make it a lot cleaner and a lot. You're gonna feel more accomplished because it's gonna be more finished, right? Because you're able to do
Yeah.
that extra time, and that's the crazy thing. Like as you were saying, that kind of like blows my mind a little bit. Thinking of like a song that was created over the course of months, right? Like you put all those days into it when you're writing it, days into the beat and all that, and then 3 months later, you went and you made this little tweak and then you felt it out and you like you said
Yeah.
how you felt the way when you felt when you wrote it you felt different than you did 3 months later when you're tweaking it, so it's like this thing is like evolving, is being born not out of just one emotional state but
Yeah.
multiple. It's just
Hmm.
kind of trippy,
And
and like how many songs are like that.
mhm. It's almost like a living thing, like it's still changing and
Yeah.
evolving, because the songs are done.
Mm-hmm.
The set list is, for what I feel at the moment, is done. But I've remade this project probably like 3 times already. I
Really?
rate, like, yeah, I've made it and edited like about 3 or 4 times where I
Have you
felt like I
gone
had
back
a,
and listened to the original things? Like this is definitely the best version
yeah.
of this. Yeah,
I
like
Well, I go back and I just go through my songs. I just
yeah.
sit. Sometimes you might go into the studio and just not necessarily create, but like, let's just go through things. Let's get back in the mode again. Let's start listening to let's pick up the pieces of where we were again. Because you might walk into the room and be like, I don't even know where was I in the process. I don't even know
Yeah.
what I was last working on.
Yeah. 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 And
So
you'll jump in at a spot that you didn't leave off at. You're gonna start somewhere else.
yeah,
Because now
exactly.
your mind's somewhere else. Like you're not you again, you forget. Like, oh, what was it that I was working on? It's gone. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you'll come back to it again, most likely, but chances are you're gonna something else is gonna catch your attention. Like, this is the part I need to work on.
Yep.
especially when it's done, right? Like,
Mhm. It's also
so
very refreshing because, like I said, like you forget.
yeah.
You forget what's there. You know certain ones that you're like, oh, I want to hear that. That's why
Mhm.
I sat down to hear that or these three things. But then like when you got a bunch of them and you're looking at them, like I also have to make a list. I make a lot of lists. Um,
Useful.
yeah, because I forget. Also
Mhm.
track lists like the order. Um, so I have to go back and check the list and be like, did I miss anything? I like to listen to it in order, the sequence that I plan on presenting it in. So as I'm playing things, I'll be like, oh, I forgot one, and then I'll find a gem, and it's like, oh, I forgot about this.
Mhm.
So it's like it makes me feel good. And that's how I feel like I know that it's right, is when I could go back to it so many times over the course of a
Ah,
year
it's
or
great.
two and still be like, like here's I forgot about this one, or I forgot
Yeah.
about these three, and it's like, how do you? And then I sit there and I just ask myself internally, like, or just pay attention to how I feel. Really, how do I feel about this? And honestly, I've been really excited about it. I feel like it's my best
Great.
work.
Yeah,
But I
you're getting
also,
better.
but I also know that it's old work, so I'm excited to create again. Um, so that's probably what, like, around the holidays right now, I'm gonna try and do is just get back into the groove. I got a new record player and stuff. So equipment
Oh,
wise,
that's cool.
I got some new equipment.
Just
I got
new
a whole bunch of new
toys.
records. Yeah, so I'm really excited for that. But I just got to package everything properly and set the
Presentation.
rollout, yeah, the presentation properly. But I'm excited to put it out. I'm excited for
Yeah, I'm
people
excited.
to hear it.
It's cool hearing you talk about it too. Like it's almost like another level of a feeling where if you haven't heard a song for a while, like everybody has this feeling. We all have music that we love to listen to, and you forget about it. You get distracted. You're into other music, and you come back and you're like, wow, that's right. The song has this. Now, what you're talking about now is just like another level of that because it's your music. Like that's now a feeling that not everybody has. Where the other feeling, everybody's had that. You heard a song, oh, I haven't heard
Mhm.
this in a while. So that's a cool thing to experience where it's like you're referring to something that was in the past, essentially, right? Like, oh, you know what I mean? Like comparing your feeling now to the music then, you have a new appreciation to it, but you were part of the creation of it. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah,
like
for sure.
that's a weird thing because it's like you're looking back at yourself in the mirror a little bit, but like years back. But again, it's not just you; it's a thing that you created, something that came out of you.
Mhm.
It's trippy.
Another part I feel is that's really been able to help me out. I think just as a human, as a man, maturing, as getting to our 30s and finding more self confidence in yourself and figuring yourself out more,
Mm,
figuring out what you like. We all have very similar interests, but
mm.
I feel like as we mature, you we're getting to know ourselves better and what we
Yeah,
like, and
yeah.
feeling more confident in our own shoes. And I feel like I feel more confident with myself, my creations, and I feel like it's easier for me to discuss things. As before, I was a lot more shy about things, and I didn't really like to talk about it as much. But I think as you just work and as your skills get better, that helps gain confidence. And I care less uh, about what people think.
Yeah, it's great.
Um,
That's so crucial. Yeah.
yeah, and not because I don't value. Maybe I don't value those opinions so much, but it's not even in a negative way. It's just more of, if you feel what you feel, that's great. I'm happy I could even just make you feel a way, positive or negative, but this is for me,
Yeah.
and I just feel more
Hmm.
confident in what I like, and um not really trying to tailor to trying to make things for other people, because this is a creative outlet and
Yeah.
something that
It's
I
for
just
you.
love and enjoy. Yeah, it's for me.
Yeah,
But I
that's
also I also know that in it being natural and in it being, you know, completely organic as far as what I create and what is the representation. I mean, I know that there's people out there that will enjoy it. Um, and if people like my past work, I just feel like this is such a better representation, but
Yeah.
not a current presentation. Like for you guys, it's gonna be new, and for listeners, it'll be new, but it's old stuff to me.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm
yeah. You
excited
mentioned
to get
that.
back creating.
Because let's say the first song on this, or the earliest song that you created, how long ago was that created?
That's a
When
good
we, yeah,
that's a good question. I don't
yeah,
even,
for the future trivia.
maybe 2 years, 3 years.
Okay, yeah, so yeah, that's old
It
music.
could be
That's
longer
gonna be
too,
cool.
because the process is, it's not like I just sit down and then you have a song. Like my process is a lot. I sit down, I pump out a bunch of beats,
Hmm.
and that might take months to a year for me to
Yeah,
just be
yeah, yeah.
pumping out a bunch of
So
beats.
much better, man. So much better to do it that way. Just create freely. Like it sucks that artists get stuck in this position where it's like I got to make this album by this time, and it's they sacrifice the music for the I guess the contract, the money,
Yeah,
whatever it is,
contracts.
or even caring about what other people think. Like
Hmm.
that gives you so much power to just say like, because if you like it, people are gonna like it. So why not make the thing that you like? Right? People are gonna like things that you don't like
Right.
that you can make. You can just force it, right? Like, oh, I'll just make you guys happy. But why not have both? Because people are gonna listen to it if it's really that good. And if people don't listen, who gives a fuck? You still got to do that thing. It's so much
Yeah, you
fun and
did the
it's
thing that
out
you
there now.
like.
Yeah. And the real wild thing is we're in the birth of the internet right now. Your music can be on there for how long? Like it's just like
I think we're a little
it,
further than the birth of the internet, but I know what you're
but it happened
saying.
in our life. It happened in our life. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right,
That's
right.
it's early. So let's say, like again,
In the lo-
if
in the
the world
long
ends,
long scheme of things, yeah.
yes. If we only make it another 20 years, then no, right? But if humans make it hundreds of more years, which is very very possible,
Right.
and the internet's still there because that's what they're gonna be building off of. That's somewhere there, and that's trippy because like I was born in '91, but I listened to the Beatles. They started in the '60s. That's a whole person before me,
Timeless.
timeless. So it's trippy in that sense because like you can literally never make music after this project and nobody listens to it for a couple decades. But let's say a dozen people find it decades from now. That's fucking crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's something that again, as long as we're still kicking as a species, as long as there's electricity and internet, like that part of you will be alive. And that's a weird thing because how many of
Hmm.
your artists that you listen to, they're dead, right? They're gone physically, but here they are talking to us, having influences over our personalities, even though we didn't even spend the same time on the earth. It's trippy shit. So that's one of the things about creation. It's like you're taking things from your brain and you're putting them out into the world physically. Like even music is physical in a way too. So it's trippy. Like we're building things.
Right. That also makes me think of immortality.
Mm,
Um, I think a lot of us think about living forever or even just thinking about it. You know, maybe you might
mhm.
not actually fully want it, but
We're definitely scared of
immortalizing
dying.
yourself
We're
in
we're
some
we're
way. For
scared of the
sure, for
end.
sure.
We're pushing
Yeah.
off the end as much as we can. So for sure, in that way, we're thinking of, oh, I'm gonna be
Hmm.
immortal. Like
Yep.
when we waste our
That
time, when we're ungrateful, when we're like not living in the moment, whatever, that's like you thinking you're gonna be immortal. I got all my time, I got all the time. So yeah, I agree. I think we actually do think a lot about that. But go ahead.
so one thing I wanted to mention was, along with the internet, that's why I also think physical products are so important.
Mm,
So aside from an internet presence that might live on for a very, very long time, which we expect it will, that's why I also want to make physical products like physical vinyl and even like cassettes and things like that as far as um, my music. But that's another part of immortality, of trying to
yeah,
humans trying to expand their existence,
yeah. I think that's partly why we
or
want to
their
create.
presence or legacy.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, hey, I'm still here. Remember this thing?
It's
This is
interesting
something.
how we, especially creatives, might think about it in that sense of like a legacy or immortality. Like I would say most people are afraid of death or afraid of this coming to an end or
Yeah.
you coming to an end, like you're no longer existing or present. And I
Mhm.
mean, I personally don't just want to be somebody in a photo. Um,
Mm. Now, do you think that's like egoic? Do you think that's like vain in a
it is
way?
ego.
Yeah. Like it makes
Ma-
sense. It would have to be tied in because that's the thing that wants to survive, right? Like
yeah,
it's
yeah. I
like
think
I want to be here. I'm here. Look at me. I didn't die.
I'm happy you said that.
Mm.
Survive. I think it's a survival thing. It is. I
Mhm.
definitely think there is, you know, a splash of ego in there, maybe a splash of vanity, um, in there
I also think there's a splash of like beauty in it. You know what I mean? Because it's
for
like
sure, for
because
sure.
sometimes we do it not just because you want it to oh, I want this thing to be here. I want to show it off. I want people to like it. I want to live through it forever through it. Sometimes it's just this like beautiful information just goes through you and you get to
Mhm.
you're in the middle of it and you're like, yeah, this has to exist. So I think that's
Yeah.
part of it too.
Also, it doesn't even have to be beauty. Like for example, um, we're gonna get a little dark here, but it's
Oh,
just an example on the
on the
opposite side of
lights.
beauty. Like for example, like a serial killer or a murderer. Um, they want their name to live on. It doesn't have to be in a
Mm,
beautiful way or whatever it is, but I
yeah,
think it's
it's
more of
true.
it's a, I think it's a like a survival thing, you know, in some way. Like
Yeah.
people want a part of them to survive or live longer or be bigger than what they were. Now, I don't necessarily expect that from like my music or things like that, but I also think there is a beauty behind that in the sense of when I'm no longer here, let's say, God forbid, I have a early demise.
Mhm.
I think it would be cool, and I think people would appreciate turning some on and hearing my voice again. You
For
know,
sure.
if for whatever reason we can no longer speak, but I
Mhm.
could have a recording of a conversation or even
Big
just
deal.
hearing your voice. You know what I'm saying? It's you're creating life in a sense.
Mhm.
When you record something, you're recording a moment. You're recording actual vibrations at a certain time. You know, a certain
That's
energy, a certain
weird.
frequency, and and it's like a time machine. It's traveling
Yeah.
through who knows how much time.
Yeah. It's echoing. That's how I see that too. The
It's echoing.
vibration.
It's
It's like
yeah.
is you have
That
this movement in your brain, this electricity, you put it onto a computer or whatever, and it plays
yep,
on somebody else's device, and it's just like vibrating from that moment that you created it.
yep.
Fucking weird, bro. It's time travel for sure.
It's a transfer of energy
Yeah.
a time machine. You
Yeah.
know, I think that's fascinating and amazing. Like even something from like Biggie Smalls and Puff Daddy, Ready
Yeah.
to Die. Like those, that's timeless music. That's a
Mhm.
timeless event that you could go ahead and hear, and then even though you know it's old, it could still sound super refreshing. Like I love it when You Call Me Big Papa comes on. You're singing that
Dude,
like if
that
it's
that
new,
music is still it still is
timeless.
new because you
Right,
see this younger generation, they listen to that. There's
right,
younger kids, they know more about Biggie than I do. They will
right.
sit there and rap every single line, and it's just like,
Mhm.
yeah, because it's already past time. It's beyond time. It's just like if as long as people have that same energy, they're gonna want that. And you mentioned that before, transfer of energy, and earlier you mentioned emotion, right? How you feel
Mhm.
when you're listening to it, and that made me want to ask you: is like, is there a certain emotion that you're trying to trigger with some of these songs, or if you want to just answer the whole project? Do you know the name of the project? Can we say the name of the project?
Yeah, the project's called Elsa Belvedere.
Elsa Belvedere. Elsa
Yeah.
Belvedere. Yes,
Mhm.
I remember that. Is there a certain emotion that you're trying to pass on when the people are listening? Are you trying to like get them in a
That's
certain
a
state?
that's a good question. I don't think I thought about it, and I don't think that was
Yeah.
planned. Like this
Mm,
whole project is gonna feel this way because that's not how creation. works. Like I said, I've redone this, a few times already. I've recreated the thing, so it's kind of hard for me to say this is what I'm the sound or the thing that I'm going for. Like there is a sound that I'm going for, but also you don't know what feels good until it hits you, and then now you're in a creative mode and in a creative groove. But for sure, individual songs
Yeah.
or individual creations, I definitely tried creating modes or themes within them, and those might have their, or even a verse. There's songs where the first verse is something completely different, and there's something a completely different topic. Like it might not
Yeah.
even be a whole cohesive thing. It might just be like thoughts, emotions, random things that you feel like.
That's just what came out in that moment. And then it's just like, oh,
Yeah,
this is what it was supposed to be.
exactly. So I
Ugh.
think it's just like I think it's just like a compilation of energy in a time frame. It's almost like a capsule. Like this is a capsule of something that was created in a certain amount of time, and it's bottled up and put out there. It's
Cool.
kind of similar to maybe what we're doing right now. For however long Channel No Name lives on,
Mhm.
it'll be a compilation
Yeah.
of different energies, different people, different personalities, different moods
Mhm.
for however long Channel No Name lives on. And maybe you evolve into something else and you create another project, but then you
Mhm.
go back and like, oh, Channel No Name, and then it's like it captures a time.
Yeah.
Um, and it's almost like its own little universe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I
So
know exactly what you mean because that's more I want that more than anything. Like I think about this thing and I think how little like I care about the success of it because
mhm.
again that's about worrying about what other people think. Like what am I trying to prove? What am
Right.
I trying to gain? I have that. Um I would rather it be just fucking having great conversations with people that I like to talk to. And there's so much that we need to talk
Exactly.
about and we should be doing this anyways. So if this can be something that we look back like, oh, that was that thing that we did for a little bit, and now there's that little collection of videos. Like me and Kevin already in 2 months put up like 10 videos. We
That's awesome.
obviously we could have been pumping out more, but like now there's this little fucking like book you can
Collection.
almost look at it. Yeah, it's like here's this collection. This is what we're talking about in this time, and I don't think we're gonna stop soon. I'm only seeing momentum, um, because the more I do it, the more I want to do it, right? Because it's like
Yeah.
I have
Yeah,
fun. I'm
no,
having
to be
fun.
honest, I feel I'm feeling great about this. Like
Yeah,
this,
yeah, it's
I'm
nice,
having a
right?
good time. It feels good.
Yeah,
It's nice to see you, talk to
always
you,
nice to see you,
it's
bro.
just it's great feeding creative avenues.
Yeah,
Like I've been doing that in other things. Um
yeah,
that's why
same.
like go ahead.
No, I was
What I
agreeing.
was gonna say is it's the way I see creativity is like it's in a jar. You have
Okay.
a certain amount of creative juices within yourself, and everybody has a different amount.
Yep.
Some people's jars might be larger, smaller, whatever it is. Um, and when you deplete it, you're kind of out of it. You got to get back into that mode. You got to get the juices flowing again, those
Mhm.
creative juices. And I think this is a really dope creative outlet. Um, I think a part of why I haven't been working on my music creative outlets because I've been working on other creative outlets. I got my chickens and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
We've been
that's some
creating
other thing, bro. That's its own
a,
creative thing for sure.
building
Yeah, you're
actual
actually creating
chicken
physical
coops or
things.
actual
Yeah,
constructions.
creating food coming out of the
Yes.
ground. Like the whole thing
Yep.
is wild. Because we're almost designed to create, right? We are creators. We are created. We are creators. And especially if
Mhm.
if you believe we're made in God's image, you're gonna imagine that God will make us like Him as creators. And I think that's why we get so
I'm
much
happy you said
fulfillment when
this.
it goes into that, like, because God's not just the creator, God is the creation, like the
Mhm.
aspect of creation is what he does. Anytime something's being put together, that, you know what I mean, that's all working through God, because he is creation. So like that's why like you see a lot of like musicians and writers where they do have that like spiritual kick to them, where they feel like you ask so many people, and you know I'll say it while I'm asking you it. Like, do you feel like some of the things you make, like you didn't make it, like you're making it, you're
For sure,
there,
for sure.
and it's just fucking flowing through you, and it's like, oh, that
100%.
wasn't me, like that just happened on its own.
There's definitely songs, verses. Doesn't even have to be a music related thing. It could be a piece of art. You know, it could just be I'm walking around my yard. I pick something up, whatever it is. We're vessels, and something transfers through you, and things kind of happen sometimes. I think people sometimes think that we're so much more in control than we actually
Yeah.
are. I think there's a large portion of that we're not in control of.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of just got to be in that mode and in that space to allow whatever that thing is to flow through you. I also think about life, um, almost in a movie timeline type of way. It's a very abstract thought, but um, for non-creatives or someone who might believe, I'm talking to you right now, for someone who might believe that you're not a creative, I think life in itself, as far as your actions, you waking up, your story, what your day to day is, as boring as it may be, you may wake up, brush your teeth, sit at home, watch a movie all day, whatever. It doesn't even matter. Whatever you do, it doesn't have to even be productive, creative, or whatever
Mm-hmm.
it is. But I think that that in itself is a creation. That story, you know, if someone was to put
Yeah.
a camera in a room of the most boring person that really has nothing going on, absolutely on the opposite side of creative, I feel like there's a story, there's a creation behind that. There's a
Mm-hmm.
timeline, there's a time lapse of movements. I feel like
Yeah.
right now in air, if you were to take like a picture and on a camera, a shutter speed, depending on how slow it closes, that's why you can see like certain pictures that have the effect of things moving, and you can see people like moving in the picture. It's
Yeah.
depending on the speed that that I believe the shutter thing
Yes.
closes and opens it. And I feel like we're creating in time right now. Like I might move this way, but you're not seeing the pattern that just moved. But I feel like we're actually creating in real
That's
time.
good.
I'm in
Yeah.
real 3D element space right now creating. This movement was never created before, you know, the exact same unique
Yeah.
way. There might have been other
You did the
bodies here
thing.
at
Yeah.
another presence, and they created different movements, different things, different energies, different vibrations. So I think that's great that you brought that up, the whole creation with God. I think that we're creating in real space, real time right now. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a boxed like packaged, oh, this is a creative idea that I'm creating. I
Yeah.
think that us living is creating.
Yeah. Yeah. Even
That
like
kind of makes sense.
you're
Very
hanging.
abstract thought, but you know what
No,
I'm
you
saying?
yeah, I see exactly what you mean, because when you even think of like, you know, you're sitting around chilling with the boys talking shit, and then like this conversation comes out of it, and you know that's where everybody has a conversation. Everybody has a conversation like, yo, we should have a show, because the thing we're talking about,
Yeah,
like, it never got created into a video. It never got turned into an audio where someone else can listen to. It's gone, but
right.
it was
But we
still
definitely
created.
created a moment.
We created that because you have the memory, at least you can go back to it, like, wow, that was so funny when this person followed that joke with this, and whatever, like, oh, we had that deep conversation. Like, creation's always happening. And you said something cool earlier where you're saying how I love that shutter fucking analogy. That woke up something in my brain. My brain went, yeah, that's true.
My
Whatever
brother.
I'm seeing right now. um, but us, like, somebody just kind of going through their day, like, that is like a story is being created. So instead of them being like the writer or the songwriter or whatever, they're the character of that story that they're going through. And it also ties into what we are talking about earlier, where, you know, you're creating something, but you're just an aspect of the creator. Like, there's other things flowing through you that it's gonna,
Mhm.
because you,
You're a vessel.
yeah, you're right, because it's one thing,
For
it's
this
like, oh,
thing to
I did
flow
this
through.
all by myself, but we're not just one thing. We're not separate. There's things constantly going, like flowing through us. So you can't literally do it by yourself only, because you have all these inspirations and because we have this lineage, whatever, because there's God. So in those spaces, it's about kind of getting out of the way a little bit and allowing that
Yep.
creative process to go. So now if you're living your everyday to life, like everyday to day life like that, where you're kind of getting out of the way, you're kind of allowing yourself to just like move through the day and like interact in these new ways, like you are creating, and you're probably going to create a better life for you that way. Like, right, where you obviously want to plan things out and think things through, but you also
Mhm.
kind of want to move through some parts of your day through instinct, through just free spirited creativity mindset, you know, because we
And
are
allowing
creating a life
yourself
for
to,
ourselves.
yeah, that's true too.
We're creating
Um,
characters.
we definitely are creating characters
Yeah.
and choosing characters. Who do I want to be in this world? How do
Yeah.
I want to be?
Mhm.
How do I want to get there? You know, there's
Who am I? You said earlier,
who
like
am I?
you're finding yourself more confident in your thing, and that's so powerful, because it's not only like knowing what you like, but standing behind what you like. So someone says like, I don't really like that, and sometimes we're swayed like, oh, you're right, that this song isn't good, this book isn't good, you're right, I'm gonna throw it away. Where it's like, if you're
Mhm.
like, no, I know I like this shit. It doesn't matter what people say. It doesn't matter what likes. It doesn't matter whatever. Like what reviews say is just, you're confident in yourself. And as long as you have that, again, if you like it, people are gonna like it.
Mhm.
Simple as that. We are all so very similar. There's so many people out there just like us, doing the same shit we're doing, thinking the same way we're thinking, going through the same shit. So of course, it's gonna hit. You
I also feel
fucking
like enjoying myself and who I'm trying to be and become and be a better
Mhm.
version of. Um, I also feel so removed from
Yeah, you're
who
fucking
I am
Alabama.
and
You're as removed as it goes.
who I was like in the
Yeah, yeah.
past as well.
Oh,
Like
okay.
I feel like I don't even know
Mm,
who I was in the past. In a sense,
mm.
like memory wise, like I don't really remember much. I don't remember so much of how I was. Like if I see a video, I could be like, all right, I
I
still
think you have
relate to those
access to it.
ideas.
You just have a lot, on your mind right now. So, yeah, you're gonna feel detached. And that's crazy because enough time. Think about it. You think 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 5 years, whatever you want to. That's so
Right.
long ago. You can
And every
completely
7
forget how you
years your
thought.
cells change anyways. So you
Yeah,
are a completely new being.
and the
So
world's
it's
changing.
yeah.
All of it. But you still have access to it. I think if you gave yourself some time to just kind of sit back and just play through, like, oh, where did I go to? Where was I in school? Who were my friends at that time? What did I like? And you'll just start going down that rabbit hole, and you'll just start getting that flood of memory. And you'll, like, you know what I mean? You'll see like, yo, that's how I was. I think it
Yeah.
is important to connect. I think it's good to disconnect. I think it's great that you're removed, because we carry so much baggage, and it's good to be able to just fucking leave shit behind.
Uh, I don't look at the
Connecting to it
remove.
is good too.
Yeah, I don't look at the removal as like a I'm trying to remove or an
It just happened. Just
yeah, a purposeful effort of removal. I think it's like a detachment that happened that you're not really even aware of. Hi, Ma. Did you eat something? Yeah, I ate. I'm recording. No, it's
I
fine. It's all
Tia.
right. But I did eat. Michael says hello.
Hi, Michael. I love you. Que Dios te bendiga.
I love you too, Tia. Mwah.
So back to what I was saying. I want to get into I know we're wrapping things up, but I want to get into a quick
Perfect timing.
forgiveness
Please.
section, a forgiveness of self, a therapeutic conversation. I feel like this whole thing's been therapeutic, but
I feel therapeutic.
I feel
Therapeutized.
like as I reflect on who I was or who I think I was, because again, I can't really, it's not like a thing that you could really grasp. It's not a
Yeah.
physical,
Yeah.
tangible thing of who you were or um whatever. I think I was able to analyze a lot of our worst critics in a sense. So
For sure.
I feel like, since we spend the most time with ourselves because we are ourselves,
Yeah.
but you analyze those things and you may pick apart all these things within yourself and your own flaws. And I think there was a lot of things with myself that I disliked, characteristics.
Mhm.
There's a lot of things I like as well. But I also look back and think I was lost in a big sense.
Mhm.
And I feel like I'm finding myself and again being more comfortable with myself and also learning to forgive myself, others,
Mhm.
and work on judgment. Um, those are like the thoughts that have been in my
Yeah.
mind for like a good year or so or two.
Mm.
And I feel like I've been trying to get better at that. I still am very judgmental. I know I am. I
There's
don't
good. There's good and bad
choose.
to it.
I don't choose to be. I just feel like I am this way.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I can't work on that. That it's just like I can't do anything about it.
Or you might not
But
need to work on it because we should be a little judgmental, right? We do have our
for sure,
standards, our priorities, our values,
exactly.
and we do want to get better. We do want the people around us better. So that's what that is. But yeah, you just got to make sure that it's not the
Mhm.
pilot, it's a tool.
Right. So I feel like I've been reflecting a lot on that, and
That's cool,
also
man. It's powerful stuff.
understanding it is powerful. It is very powerful. Understanding how you might want to be forgiven yourself,
Hmm.
you yourself, for things and how you were, and you don't want to be forever viewed or judged on a certain thing. And I feel like I've done that to a lot of people in my own brain of categorizing people and putting people in boxes. And we all do just based off of the experience. And I feel like that the only way that actually changes is if those persons' experiences with you change and now that box evolves.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because
Yeah.
we kind of compile a bunch of thoughts and memories and put them into a box and associate that with a person or a personality or an experience, or even you go to a freaking amusement park and you have a horrible experience with amusement parks,
Hmm.
and now you're like, I hate amusement parks. And it's like, you might not necessarily hate amusement parks, it was just a dog that bit you that day, and
Yeah.
now you hate amusement parks and now you hate dogs, and it's like that isn't necessarily it. So I feel like I'm just trying to be a lot more open to things. I know for a fact I'm changing. um I don't even necessarily know how I was before. You know, I'm working on who I am now. It's all I can really work on. And I try and apply that to other people. And as we grow and mature and change, and it's just the same way I wouldn't want somebody to hold on to something for me or about me, I shouldn't do that to others.
Hmm.
Um, so to tie it all in kind of full circle, it's I think forgiveness is huge, forgiving self,
Hmm. Yep.
um, and knowing that you're not your thoughts,
Yeah.
and you're also not just specific actions.
Hmm.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
You-
We're fucking going through it. You know what I
we're
mean? It's
forever
like,
we're currently living and evolving, and
yeah.
certain moments and experiences don't define who you are entirely. I
Yeah,
think
like if we're lucky, we have long lives.
right.
So it's very easy for us to have one moment or even one idea of ourselves that we
Hmm.
carry through our entire lives because of one thing that happened or one thing somebody said or whatever. And it's just like then you're like it's almost like you're making it you. It's not you, right? An
Right.
action, a thought process, something somebody else said, that's not you. But if you're sitting there obsessed about it, then it almost becomes that. And
Hmm.
like all the things that you mentioned before, like forgiveness, working on judgment, knowing yourself, being more confident, liking yourself, like all that shit, a lot of it, I feel like that's probably why you've been able to do that in this last year or so. is probably because you were reflecting a lot. Am I right in saying that? There was a lot of time that you just got to
For
sit
sure,
back
for
and just
sure.
look and just go, oh, wait, I didn't realize I thought of it that way. Like,
Right.
oh shit, like I am still upset about this thing. Holy shit, I didn't even realize I was upset about it. Like I need to forgive that already. I need to forgive
Right.
them. I need to forgive myself. I can't believe I'm still carrying that. Because otherwise, if you're just like fucking going through your day and it's like, yeah, you're still holding that
You're
resentment.
living in
You're
the
still holding it.
past.
Oh yeah, it's like a demon. So is the future, where it's like, yeah, pay attention to me. Remember the thing that happened. Or watch out for that thing that's gonna happen.
Remember me.
Remember me. I'm the past.
That's good. I think a good example of what I was trying to refer to is like no getting to know Andy again, because I feel like we're this, which reminds me. Let me hold on. That's kind of a whole wave of thoughts. Um, Allow me to reintroduce
It's
myself. My name
myself.
is Hope. But I think that's huge because it allowed me to reintroduce myself.
Yeah.
I'm excited to meet you now. I'm excited for you to meet me now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to know who you are now.
You can't step in the same river twice. So it's like you're changing, I'm changing, the people around us are changing, the world's changing. It's like you're constantly like meeting people, like again.
Right.
And it's like, you might meet somebody day one and day two, they're completely different, day three, and it's like
Yep.
there's a general story, right? There's going to be those consistencies,
Right.
Because there are certain habits that we have, certain personalities
Of
that we
course.
have, but yeah, absolutely. It's bugged out,
I
man.
feel like
And
sorry, go ahead. I was gonna say I feel like two good people that I base kind of that thought and mindset off of is like my father and Andy. I feel like the Andy that we knew and grew up with is so different from who he is as a man today, as a
Yeah, it's
almost
cool.
40-year-old.
I'm gonna have him on soon. He's
Awesome.
busy life. Yeah.
So it's just I feel like it's on opposite ends of the spectrum of
Cool. It's
who
cool.
who he was, his lifestyle,
People
how
can
he
change.
was. There's clearly consistencies in who he is as a person, his heart, all of that. But just within lifestyle, the way you speak, carry yourself, from the way you dress to so many different levels, so many different aspects to who he is today. I think about the same thing with my father, who my father was, or who I thought he was, maybe at a younger age, his lifestyle versus who he is today. And I think
different world too.
I feel like that's why that's another reason of the whole reflection, forgiveness, evolving conversation and thoughts that I've been having.
Yeah,
Which
and
I think is cool.
I think that's a good place to sign off. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to go play some Warhammer 40K with Chris. I gotta play with toys and dice. So we'll end it here, and with that message, because we covered a lot, right? Because we went from like life, creativity, like forgiveness and growth and all these things, and all of that is something that we have a relationship with because of our reflection, right? Looking back at your music, looking back at your past, figuring out who you are, who you're becoming. And this is a podcast I'm going to listen to again. So I feel like there's a lot of good, like,
I feel like there's a lot of
takeaways,
good
a lot of
things.
nuggets.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff to reflect from here, so that's like a cool thing. And then, as long as, we're blessed with many years to come, I would love to be able to have another reflection, like not until then, but like constantly reflecting, but another 10 years from now, another 20 years from now, another 30 years.
Right.
If you changed in the last year, imagine what the conversation is 30 years from now if we're that lucky. So it's cool to have this on my computer that can be put somewhere. And if, God willing, we could do that again, like it's like the story of life, essentially. It's kind of us like constantly looking back and just being aware of what's happening, eyes open, ears open, taking it all in, because it's a fucking lot to take in. There's so much, but I want to leave it at that. Anything you want to throw?
It's just been a pleasure talking to you, seeing you. Tell
been a
Chris
pleasure living with you, bro. It's been a pleasure having you as one of my best friends, as a person that just so happened to exist at the same time as I exist, right? You know, how many people that we'll never meet because they were born 100 years ago or will be 100 years
Yep.
from now, and we not only were in the same place, same time, but the same place. So I'm very grateful for that. We're definitely blessed
Likewise.
for each other for sure. But I love you, my brother. We'll do it
Love
again.
you too. Good luck in
Absolutely.
the combat.
I'm
And
coming after him.
I do hope you win. He's been winning a lot. So
Yeah, he's good. He's good. Yeah, he got me last
I-
time, so we'll make it
yeah.
happen.
I feel like he's always winning.
Yeah, he's good. He knows what he's doing.
He's
He's a
great.
smart
He's
dude.
great.
He's always been good at strategy games, like since we were kids.
Always. I've been thinking about
Yeah.
Cyclades a lot too.
Ooh, we'll do that soon.
But yeah,
We'll
we
do
got to do
that.
that. I love you, brother. It's been a pleasure
Love you
talking to
too,
you.
bro. Appreciate
Happy
you. Man.
holidays.
Thanks for joining us on Channel.
I'll talk to you on the
man.
holidays.
You've been an awesome guest, and I'll talk to you in the holidays, bro. Enjoy.
Peace.
Peace.